Morning, Victor.
Good morning, Annie.
Last time, I discovered how much our spending reveals about us. When you know how someone spends their money, you know exactly what they value. Here's the question I now want to ask. Is spending a way to achieve happiness?
Certainly every week, 32 million people buy lottery tickets in the hope of transforming their lives, ending their troubles, and achieving unlimited happiness. Is that what you get? Does being very, very rich actually guarantee that you're going to be very, very, very happy?
I'm in Mayfair, home to the super rich. Property prices here are amongst the highest in the world, and this is where John Caldwell lives. 10 years ago, he sold his company, Phones for You, and found himself £1.5 billion better off. John's one of only 113 billionaires in Britain.
So, if wealth makes you happy, I'm surely about to meet one of the happiest people in Britain. Wow, so this is the house. It's just a bit smaller than the American embassy around the corner. A kind of medium-sized palace, I'd say.
Morning.
Hello, no doorbell, why's that?
This is extraordinary. A two-bedroom flat around here could cost £10 million. It's a palace. And naturally, there's a butler.
Miss Robinson, Mr. Caldwell is expecting you.
Lead the way.
And what can I get you to drink? Cup of tea, cup of coffee?
I'd love a cup of coffee, thank you.
Though not everything's billionaire style.
It is instant.
Oh.
Miss Robinson,
Hi.
Mr. Caldwell.
How are you?
Oh,
Nice
and
to
it's
meet
your
you.
beard.
Oh, I did shave it a little bit for you this morning, yeah.
You're
just
a
to trim it
former
down.
redhead, aren't you?
I am very red.
Yeah.
How did John end up living in a Mayfair mansion?
You don't become a billionaire by chance.
If you look at when I was 5 and living in the back streets of Stoke-on-Trent, very, very working class area, this vision came very, very clearly into my head that I was going to be extremely wealthy and extremely successful.
But you must have known.
And extremely charitable.
Okay, but if we can just pause there, you'd made all this money. Was it all it was cracked up to be in your vision?
My vision didn't have
Happiness.
a happiness reward for making this money. That never came into it.
OK, if happiness wasn't John's goal in starting his business, has he enjoyed the proceeds of it now that he's got millions to spend?
So this is my ballroom.
I think as ballrooms go, John, it's a pretty hot ballroom. So, does this room make you happy?
This room makes me spectacularly happy because so many happy moments are spent in here raising money for charity. It's beautiful in here, it's very atmospheric, it's very intimate, and so it works tremendously well. And I managed to buy the house at a sensible price.
Which
so
was...
this comes on to... we don't want to talk... It's crass talking about money.
It's absolutely fascinating to talk about money. How much did you pay for the house?
It's public record anyway, but about 90 million. I viewed right from the beginning that this purchase would be a house that I could make so special that there would be a huge profit in it. And half of that profit will go to charity when I die.
Intimate? I'm not sure that I'd say that about a huge ballroom. But he does love billionaire bling.
Well, we'll introduce you to my jacket collection now.
Not only in the homes he buys, but also in the clothes he wears. John's turned that into a business.
How much are you going to sell me this jacket for?
That would be 3,500, that one would be.
Oh, tiddly squid.
Almost an irrelevance.
What I'm wearing is the entry-level jacket. What John loves to do is add detail.
Those beautiful crystal buttons.
Money over taste, perhaps?
18-karat gold buttons.
Yeah.
That's got my monogram on, JC.
It's like a car. You could get the Christmas tree job, couldn't you?
With
all the extras.
The price could go up exponentially from that, depending on how much jewellery we put on, depending on how much diamonds and gold. So it's still going to put the price up into the tens of thousands of pounds.
John relishes all this. But what's behind the gold jackets and ballroom? How does a working-class lad from Stoke live in a house like this? I haven't seen the heart of the home where he might cosy up with family and friends. Aside from the butler, who's he sharing it with?
Wow, what size bed is that?
Well, that's the Sultan's bed.
Is it?
I presume it was the Sultan's bed, yeah.
No, your bedside table is just water. So no books.
No books. No. When I go to bed, I go to sleep or whatever, but not books.
Oh, gosh. The big book of breast 3D.
Just a moment. Bought for me by a friend.
The big book of legs. And you said you didn't read. And then this goes through to your bathroom.
That's the bathroom through there.
Wow, gold.
So what do you think of this room?
I think it's large. It's like an in-and-out drive, isn't it? You come in that way, and then you come out this way. Yeah.
Despite the teasing, John's tolerant enough to offer me lunch.
It's a lot of steps to a kitchen.
I'll get to see where he spends his time when he's in his palace.
Do you do your own cooking here?
I do. I do my own cooking all the time.
Do you?
You know, I love to try and get a level of perfection that you don't normally get in restaurants.
So what are you going to cook me then?
It's a real speciality of mine, and I call it prawn peel.
John can afford to eat in any Michelin-starred restaurant. Surely this will be MasterChef with bells on.
One of the absolute essential... Yeah, go on, you can have a look at it.
Perhaps not.
Just pop that in there to start it up. Now turn the heat down. Cheddar cheese, extra mature. So I'm just putting the tomato on here now.
The tin tomato.
The tin tomato, yes, yeah. So we've got Tesco there, haven't we?
Yeah.
You'll find it's very tasty.
Excellent. You've made it very crispy on. Do you mind your own company?
I would not choose to be on my own. Does that mean I do mind my own company?
Not necessarily. I mean, what you're saying is you'd rather have a playmate.
Yeah.
How much would that improve your life?
Having somebody that you can share your life with in every way.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, that would help with the happiness.
And if you were to measure your happiness on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 is super duper, how would you measure it at this time?
Now, at this moment, not very high, because I've had some sad things happen in my life. I mean, my son is very ill. He's 19 and very ill, and he's been ill since he was 9 or 10. That creates untold sadness. I've tried everything I can think of to help him. And, you know, up to yet, we've failed. And that's miserable. My mother now, she's 91, but she's in a very, very frail state now. You know, she had a massive stroke and died in my arms 10 years ago. And we got her back to life. And I went to the hospital bedside and talked to her for hours and said how much I loved her. And, you know, how much I wanted her to live. And anyway, she did. Do you know, and I turn up now, and this great big smile comes on her face. As ill as she is, and we just have a magical time.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say at the moment?
That's such a hard thing to do, because when I'm doing the positive things, when I'm doing charity work, I'm a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I do move down, however, to a very low ebb for periods.
Oh, they?
1, 2 out of 10.
Really?
But I'm not going to come across as a sad old guy.
I understand.
You know, I'm not sad. I've got sadness that I have to deal with. But I should be a 9.
Why?
Because that's what I've made myself all my life, by thinking of how lucky I am and everything that I've got and everything I can do.
Is there a pressure to be happy? If you're a billionaire, do you feel it's part of your duty?
I've never thought about it, you know, it's quite a good question, but I think it almost is, isn't it? Because if you've got all the trappings of life, all the wonderful things that you can do as a result of being wealthy, it probably is your duty to be happy, but of course money doesn't buy happiness.
Well, you might suppose that if there was one person who would prove that being able to buy whatever you want would make you happy, it was him.
Thank you so much.
Very nice to see you.
But actually, rather touchingly, what he did was explain that money can't do it. If you're going through a sad time, all money can do is make it more comfortable.
With family problems and no partner, John's bachelor palace feels empty. He's just as vulnerable as everybody else. If unlimited spending power doesn't give you a guarantee of happiness, I wonder how strong the link between spending and happiness actually is. To find out, I'm going to the other side of the wealth gap.
I want to find people who have zero to spend, absolutely nothing. And I've been researching food banks. I'm going to go to a food bank and find out what it's like.
Last year, more than 1 million people didn't have enough money to buy the basics and ended up relying on one of the country's 800 food banks. I'm at the Salvation Army Church in Chatham in Kent.
Hello. Good morning, Anne.
Where a food bank operates 2 days a week. And before I meet people who've come here for help, I'm going to work alongside one of the volunteers.
This is Mike. Mike is...
Hello, Mike. Can I be your assistant?
Yes, indeed. So the first thing we put in is a cereal, and it's a small one.
Yep. The food's donated by the public or by supermarkets, and no money changes hands.
Is that 2 bags?
Yes.
Right. Now,
I'm a shopkeeper's daughter, Mike. I can go quick.
The people I've come to talk to get 3 days' worth of emergency food free.
It always cheers you up, a double chocolate biscuit.
We're picking groceries for someone coming to the food bank for the first time. And in order that it feels like normal shopping, we're putting everything into supermarket bags.
Are you ready to sweep?
I am ready to march, Mom.
Good.
This is Brian. 4 years ago, he lost everything. He can't claim benefits because he doesn't have a permanent address. How much money have you got in your pocket at the moment?
Not a penny.
Not a penny?
No money at all.
Did you have a job 4 years ago?
In the evening, I'll be a DJ, and in the daytime, I'll be working in a pub. So.
Yeah. And when you did have money, what did you spend it on?
Generally, I'd spend it on clothes, you know.
Yeah. Go on holidays?
Yeah, generally, I'd go on holiday a couple of times a year.
Where to?
Italy, France, Spain, Greece. It's pretty devastating to come from money and then have nothing, not being able to, and having to walk past the shops you used to walk into daily.
Yeah. If you look back, what's caused the huge change in your circumstances?
It was mainly the breakdown of my relationship, and it sent me into a bit of depression. I had nowhere else to go, so everybody's 2 situations removed from being in the situation I'm in.
Really?
Yeah, loss of a job, you know, and then that can send you into depression, and then you end up giving up on everything, just losing it all.
It's interesting. You think we're all two moves from being without totally. After years of living on the streets, Brian's found a place in a hostel, and they referred him to the food bank.
This mightn't be very well packed, Brian.
Yeah.
That would be on account of me having packed it. What do we do here? We've got soap, deodorant, toothpaste and shampoo. You'll be ready for a date, won't you?
Yep.
Okay. Baked beans, I was told to put 2 in of those.
Okay.
Is that the most shopping you've done for a long time?
It's for the last 4 years,
Yeah.
A lot more than I generally
So
have.
actually walking home with it, will you feel different?
It makes you feel like you've actually had some money in your pocket, and you've gone out and been able to do the shopping for yourself, you know. So yeah.
So you've
it's good,
achieved
really good.
something?
Yeah, it's really good. It's a good feeling.
Does it lift you?
It makes you feel like your life's slowly getting back on track.